Ladies and gentlemen, Hard Nosed Derby Podcast. Where are we at?
We are remote, Bevier, Missouri.
Yes, sir.
Big Pop and Little Pop shop.
Uh-huh.
We're hanging out with Mr. Teddy P and Little Pop Kayden P today. Guys, how are y'all?
Good. Doing really good today.
I like your shop.
Thank you.
It is nice.
I need this shop. Fuck, I'd take half this shop. I'd go from that rotator over. I'd be good to go.
I'll be telling everybody what he's got.
You think that ain't never big enough, but this is 40 by 40 in here, and it's just I need something bigger or something else.
All the time.
Just to even store stuff.
When you take a 40 by 40 and you put 4 foot of shit all the way around it, you know, shelves and toolboxes and stuff, that goes to a 32 by 32 in a hurry.
No, absolutely.
And my little 28 by 30, I think, I don't have no room, and you're got
you see the people that are building the 60 by 80s and stuff like that, and they've got those full too.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep.
Yeah, they ain't never ever big enough.
No.
Ever.
But you can always add on.
No.
Where you want to start at?
Well, we do have a quarter of Caddy Nations sitting right next to me.
Yep.
We've been talking about Blizzard Bash the last few weeks, so we'll get into it with him, and then we'll move on to Kayden whooping ass in a van.
There we go.
With no cage. Still whooping ass. So, dude, Blizzard Bash this year, you did have a post on social media you thought was one of the better ones.
I do. I think overall show-wise, I think Thursday night's heats, Friday night's heats, the Nationals, the qualifiers, I think overall it was one of the best heats. I mean,
the track was
especially
phenomenal.
the track was fantastic. Last year the Emson stuff kind of started, but last year it seemed like every heat, at least one car, if not two cars, just lost their suspension solely for driving on the track. That's it.
Right.
It wasn't getting hit or nothing. If two of them did that this year, that was a lot, I think. I think if anybody lost their suspension, it was 100% from getting a hit.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't on their own fault, which, I mean, everybody seemed like they were evenly matched up this year. There wasn't no 4-on-4 and all of a sudden 4-on-2 in 2 minutes. It was a battle through all the heats, and show-wise, I thought it was great.
That was that was pretty record-breaking.
It was record-breaking. It was luck of the draw. I mean, we just got a good heat, and unfortunately, I think Stephen Avis blew his motor, so they were down one off the bat, which helped. Rob had a flat tire, which slowed him down a little bit.
I snapped him, and I was like, I think I'm off work. I did finally get off work. I'm like, I can bring a tire if you need me to. I was like, he pulled on the biggest track of the year with a flat tire. He's like, well, it was up whenever
we went back here. We got the car started, got in the car, and they had us line up. And I mean, up until after we lined up, it had air in it, and then somebody walked by and said, "Hey, your tire's flat." Rob gets out, and
he said espionage.
It was flat, but yeah.
Sabotage!
I said it was those damn kids with those wrenches.
Yeah.
Which I did speak a couple episodes ago that I truthfully thought, as much as I've watched you guys, whether it's individuals, a couple of you going to a fair show or even Blizzard Bash type, I thought, in my opinion, that was the best I've seen you guys drive as a team.
I feel that we did, and
the
beginning was slow paced, but then once things started going, I was watching Mason's roof sign, I was watching Rob's roof sign, and I mean, you could watch them and tell if they were getting after it or if they were still playing the game. And once we got especially the wagons and stuff, once we got them turned sideways in the track, I mean, I'd corner out of my eye, I'd see Rob coming and I'd back up, and and then I'd go in and stroke too, and we did. I felt we did great, and I mean, it worked out obviously because I mean we were there at the end with 3 cars. I mean, pretty well. So
you were where you wanted to be at the end of that show.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's kind of one thing I pointed out because I've seen you guys before. You'll work on somebody over here and make them
split.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And it
very well seem like that ever happened this year.
But it could be in the same sense as the people that they're running against.
Right.
Notice that shit, and they're like, hold on, let's bird dog him over here.
Let's keep him separated.
And get him looking away on the other side where they're not paying attention. Next thing you know, you're looking around, and you're like, oh, fuck, I've only got 2 cars going. Right. Where's the other 2 guys?
Last year or two, I mean, I've really started. I always joke with Rob and them, and Trey probably feels it's true, but I'm the worst driver on the team. I'm not that I'm terrible by no means, but I always joke with him that I'm the worst guy, and I'm just kind of the hammer to try to get it through the heat. But the last year or two, I've really tried to pay attention more, slow down more. And that's slow paced. I'm starting to get into the rhythm of it more, but that's hard to do. But the last couple or prior to this, the last couple of years, I'd get bored, and that's why you'd find me on the other end of the track by myself, because I just go looking for something.
Yeah,
and that's why, that's what we've talked about. Places like Hot Springs and stuff, where that is such strategical driving. It's not a show for me, because about 15, 20 minutes of that stuff, and I'm bored.
Yep.
Hell, I'm bored to watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But being in the car, being in the car, it's not even so. You'd think you'd be bored out of your mind, but it's a job just to stay busy, not doing nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
To stay busy, not being busy. It's a job on its own. Because you still got to put on a little show for the officials.
Right.
And you got to make it look like you're doing something. So it's still work.
I think you actually have to work harder thinking.
Absolutely.
Than you do driving.
It's a mental game for sure.
Because it's really easy to go out there and just lay one to the floor and try to head to the other end.
Because you're watching out for the Mad Dogs. You're watching out for Joe Blow, whose bumper is 4 foot high, who don't even know where he's going for sure. He might accidentally clip your wheel or whatever. So there's a lot going on that you got to pay attention to. Where, like you said, when you're wide open, you just hold the throttle and
So. But like you were talking about, I do feel that the steering component stayed underneath cars way better this year.
Absolutely, for the show wise, absolutely.
Because last year, whenever we were watching all those imps and stuff come out, I told Derek, I was like, they might as well just throw the steering wheel out the window when they pull in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because they didn't need it.
Yep.
They were going to go out there, not be able to steer it, and they were going to try to drive it with transmission the rest of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which we have talked, now these mod cars especially, national qualified side, those cars are tanks. You've been in mod cars. You know what they are.
I've been in mod cars, but the mods I was in, almost they're just a step up from what we're building now.
Right. From the light weld stuff.
This was 2015 mods that they're nothing compared to what they are. I didn't have the hump plates, I didn't have the window bars, I didn't have the aftermarket spindles and springs and the 8x8 motor mounts, and they're a whole different world now. Yeah.
Well, we've all talked about. They're solid plate from doors forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they are.
Yeah, from that center pillar forward. Yeah,
from the back doors back, the same way. Yep. And then with cages to tie the middle together. So
even people that we've seen, guys like Dalen Brown, go to P Hill, drive it forward in a street stock, and not lose steering for 15, 20 minutes.
Right.
But then he goes out there and takes one stupid little.
That's all it takes.
Just a little slap shot.
Me, Cody, and Dalen, we talked multiple times going to Bash, and I, kept telling Cody that, I wish he has the best luck, but there's no way in the world he's going to have any steering left. And Dalen was the only smart one of the two of them, because he was in the 98 and he was going to keep the steering.
Right.
And lo and behold, every time loses steering, and here's Cody in the 03 that's driving off the track every time. So
he still owes me a nut kick. I'm gonna have to wear a jock strap and cup the next time I see him.
You told him whenever we were over there.
I did, and I was like, man, just in case, I said you'll probably want to nut kick me. I was like, but if Dalen loses steering, and he just looked at me. He's like, shut your hole. Mm-hmm. I never see him lose it, and then he just did it. So,
man, it seemed like that Lightweld team, I might catch a little backlash on this, but I enjoyed watching the Lightwelds more than I did the mods this year because of the competition.
Correct.
It was such a level playing field on the Lightweld side, or I thought it was, sitting at home watching it, that it seemed like almost all of it was hard fought. There wasn't, there's people that get pissy about that, but there wasn't like your trash teams, that.
Yeah.
It seemed like, ass kickers, they were there. Everybody knew they were there. It just seemed like it was almost like watching college ball compared to.
Against the Pro Bowl. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, I agree. Each class has always got their own following. The Compacts guys got theirs and stuff. But
do they?
We get.
Is that a thing?
Somebody does, not me, but somebody follows them. But I mean, all of us get told a lot that Lightwell's really the show, and after that, everybody's like, okay, if Lightwell's featured over, we're not even going to stay to watch the mods. But I mean, there's plenty to watch them too. But I hear that a lot. That the Lightwells are really where it's at. But.
And some of that is because the cars come apart. I mean, that's why I'm watching Derby anyway. I like seeing shit broke. Yeah.
I've heard so many people in the last 5 years to say, I go watch a Derby to watch the cars bend. Mm-hmm. If they don't bend, the people in the crowd.
Nobody's in the crowd going, man, I can't wait for a wheel to fall off.
No, absolutely.
Oh, man, I hope he loses steering.
Yep.
Just when they're just sitting in there spinning it.
Yeah. Just, I love cars bend. I love when they do. I just don't want mine to. I want everybody else to.
Which, what we talked about, the teams that you guys had in the Lightwell setting. A lot of the stuff I kind of get bashed a little bit, but most of the stuff I do by just memory. Mm-hmm. You had Ass Kickers, SMS.
I was pulling up. Go ahead.
Outsiders, and Caddy Nation. So that's 3 of the 4 who are usually there at the end. And then the Outsiders added Jason. Mm-hmm. And I know you and Tiny are...
Oh, yeah, we're good buddies, yeah.
Tight.
We both, every time something's, either whether it's out there at Bash or something's posted on Facebook or something, we both get a lot of messages, hey, what's the deal? What he do to you or what you do to him. But it's all out of love and fun.
Well, so. I was...
The Snapchat of you pushing his car out. Yeah. I have never saw a smile so big on your face, and since I've known you, after winning a Mad Dog at Carnage to Caddy Nation or any fair show. I never saw a smile so big.
I was laughing at that for sure. Yeah, that was.
And then you sent the Snapchat, and he had a Caddy Nation sticker on the back back deck.
I thought it'd be fun. We got them stickers, and we thought it'd be fun to tag it and vandalize his car a little bit. So
don't get Eddie talking about vandalizing.
Oh no, that's a whole different level of vandalism there. But
he's still salty about it.
He is for like 7 years ago. I'm going to ask, and I think I know your answer. You guys got Mason with you a couple years ago after Mr. 7X.
Yep.
Stepped away and pretty much retired. Knowing that you guys are always usually there at the end, is it boring yet?
No, it never is. I mean, because at any time, I mean, that's subject to change. And I mean, last year was the first year for the Derby Tees, Pritchett and them guys. And I mean, they brought a whole new level of competition to it too. And, every year I feel going out there, the level is getting higher and higher.
As it should.
We're just, absolutely. And because that's, things are progressing in the right direction, I feel like, if things are getting harder instead of easier. But, no, I mean, I think it's never boring. Like I said, as far as my driving and stuff, it's pushed me to be a better driver. So, I mean, there's still the new challenge of, are we going to get to the end? How are we going to get to the end? And, working together to get to the end. So, I mean, to me, it's not boring at all. I mean, it's still wanting me to drive to push myself even further.
Well, I like to think that competition gets better and better out there every year because you've got those people sitting at home, that are good drivers, builders, and all that, and they've watched, like Caddy Nation that's there at the end every year. Those guys are sitting at home. They're like, man, I bet we could throw a team together and beat those guys. Mm-hmm. And that's where you're getting your competition from.
Absolutely.
Or we've seen people build down. Because didn't the Pritchett boys run on the qualifying side a few 3 or 4 years ago?
I'm terrible with names. Yeah. I don't know if they did or not.
The Derby Tees guys. Yeah. Because I was thinking they actually started to build back a little bit and do the Lightwell team. And that was another team that I completely left my brain. So you've got 20 dudes for 5 teams on the Lightwell side that are stupid.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, the McCoys, that was their first year back in it this year, And I mean, Walden and all their guys, they had a group. Andy Hansen and them. They're a group of guys that would be hard to beat 4-on-4. And I mean, we just got them where we needed to in the feature. And
100%.
But they were guys that raised the level of competition this year.
Because skill will only take you so far in this sport.
Oh, absolutely. Like Rob says, you'd rather be lucky any day than be good. But
one team that is always on the list, and usually they finish right there at the end as well, was the Kansas Outlaws. I never even saw anything on social media of them even going through tech. Did you see them when you guys were out there?
I did see them. I did see their cars. I seen a couple of them were painted up, had markings and stuff on it, so they did go through tech. Exactly what the issues were.
Yeah.
I
get that. Yeah, I hadn't seen anything on Facebook.
Yeah, nothing. No. Usually we'll get a snap of somebody saying, hey, they got loaded. Or
I mean, honestly, we brought it up the other day and stuff. I didn't see any explanation on why people weren't making it through tech.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
That there was nothing like that. All they did was put on there that they didn't get in.
Yep.
And that it was bullshit that they didn't get in, but there was no explanation. And that's why
there was a lot of guys who were just a half inch short up front. Everybody got loaded because they were a half inch short up front. And I mean, stand up. And like I said, I'm terrible with names. There was one guy who got loaded that he put the picture. He had the crap in his radiator support. He put a picture on there. This is what I got loaded for. And I really give him props for just saying, hey, I did this, I screwed up, and this is why I got loaded. Me and Kenny's had the talk, me and Tim's had the talk, me and Sam's had the talk. And I see both sides of it, but I feel that nobody should ever get loaded. You should always have the option to fix your car. You might not like that option. You weld the 4x4 plate on your frame and you buff it down and you're trying to hide it. You cut a 6-inch hole. You cut the whole side of your frame out, 6-inch hole.
Right.
You don't like that option. That's your choice. You can put it on the trailer, or you can cut.
So you loaded yourself,
and that guy, he told them, flat out, hey, I'll take my whole radiator support out, run it just like that. That's a hell of a penalty. But, but at that point, But Kenny and Tim and them, they said, we've done that for years. We've tried, working with these guys, and he said the guys keep coming back. So he said, the only next thing we know now is if you're blatantly trying to cheat, trying to hide it, automatic trailer, period. So I see both sides of it. It does suck, but like I said, I do feel you should have that option. You might not like that option.
And you're going to keep getting that because we dealt with it even on the promotion side. Everybody wants the best possible outcome for their car.
In a singles and especially on a team deal. I mean, you want that advantage, but man, I think me, Mason, Trey, Rob, we all talk, but I'm not going to be the guy who's going to overdo something on my car and cost us a teammate. Because when you get 4-on-4 or 4-on-3 and it's equally matched, that one man makes a huge difference.
Oh yeah,
and I don't want to go through the extra work of doing it anyway. I don't want to spend another $5 on a can of paint to hide what I just put on the frame buff down.
Yeah.
If I'm going to get beat, it's going to get. I'm being a legit car.
Right.
Which I think
props to you if you cheated it up and beat me.
I think me and you have talked. I've told guys who are coming to our stuff, don't ever do anything that you can't fix there. Mm-hmm. Period. We all know extra half-inch here and half-inch there on welds or whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody usually always pushes
2
those
foot on
issues.
Cage bars, whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But that's just like you said. The guy posted what he did. This is why I got loaded. I live up to it.
Well, I mean, that's stand up as shit right there.
Yeah.
Well, and that takes all that guesswork out.
Absolutely.
And it pulls a little bit of that responsibility off Tim Clark.
Yep. And then that's what I was going to say. If you don't say nothing at all, that's fine too. But don't put something on there. Yeah, my frame was a half-inch short, but you had 1-inch side rails, Don't be throwing it on. Because as a promoter, you knew it as a promoter, you already get enough good publicity, but you get enough bad publicity from stuff that you didn't even do.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I showed up to the car with a cheated car and they loaded me, I shouldn't throw that back on Tim.
Right.
Either don't say nothing or just own up to what you did. But don't push it off on Tim.
Yeah.
Or whoever.
Right. It's easier to do that, though.
It is. It's easy to say my frame was half inch short. I had a great value tape measure, so
yeah.
you know.
I bought that at Harbor Freight. I didn't know. I don't know. They must have been using.
Well, we've all seen the difference of tape measures.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
They take that shit into consideration, though. Unless it's Teddy's repair plate.
Yes. one time, yeah.
Teddy's repair plates, Cordell's repair plates, and CJ's repair plates.
I still blame all that on Junior, so.
yeah. Junior supplied the guy welding, so.
Man, what is
before new styles you planning on running next year?
Probably two.
I'll say before we get to Kayden,
he only needs one. He can just go win all the shows and leave the front end on the track like he did in Boone County.
That's the first time I've ever saw a front end come down when they picked the car up.
The core support or the bolts and stuff out of the core support.
Yeah, but I cut the 2 core support bolts off and then took my 4 body mounts out and
rolled the front end.
Disconnected, training lines and stuff, but the whole front stub 100% come out.
Well, did you see him pick the car up?
When they picked it up, you could watch the fenders just go right back down. So he's got one more in it.
The distributor was bouncing off the windshield bar. The windshield bar cracked it, but I mean it was still running. But yeah, it was
one shot. All somebody had to do was just come around there. And
I don't even think they had to hit it hard.
No,
not at all.
They would have just touched it.
Will White's boy could have backed into you.
Yeah.
And it would have been just over.
Yeah.
Because all it had to do was push that up enough to break the distributor cap off of it.
Yeah.
But no, he went ahead and cashed that check.
Well, he's got another big old check over here. What's the next one? You going to Peoria?
Peoria. Yep, that's next on the line.
I know a lot of.
Hopefully, I mean they're a week apart, but hopefully Carnage too. We all got.
He's on the waiting
on
list,
so.
on it, I believe.
Yep.
So if anybody out there listening's got a spot they don't want to use.
Yep. Hit me up.
Just this past summer, you guys went up to Gem Falls.
Yeah.
You had good runs up there. Is that possible on the schedule, to try to slide? Here's my question. Is John allowing pre-runs?
No. As far as I know, everything's 100% fresh. I think 60 or 80 cars in that street stock class, which it was moved to Minnesota, I think. So it is a little closer this year.
Is that Cannon Fall?
Yeah.
Cannon Hills or
Cannon
something?
Falls or something, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But it's still John's deal.
Still John's, yep.
Okay.
That looked like a badass show last year.
And it was a great show. John's a great guy. Tech was good. A lot of great drivers. I mean, a lot of your, Blizzard Bass drivers. Right. Johnson's, Clements. There was a lot of, great guys there. Great competition. It was a great show.
And, I feel like whenever you go run shows like that, you're really broadening your horizon because you get to run against new people.
Absolutely. New people. The builds was pretty close to what we're running, so it wasn't so much new on that. But you still, even with the same rules, there's still different building styles
and that was
within
all
those
80s and
rules.
Newer too, right?
And it was 100% 80s and newer, so it eliminated, the old irons out of it. But yeah, I mean, it just gets you different driving styles. You could drive around summer, or you could drive around home all summer long, and you're driving against the same guys all the time. Not that you still ain't having some competition out of that, but
the thing is, there's so many big shows now.
Well,
whether it's in Minnesota, Wisconsin, South Dakota, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Utah, wherever, you're always going to run against Blizzard Bash, Carnage,
drivers.
Whiskey City competition.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
no matter where you go.
Well, and that's honestly, I'd rather run against that anyway because to be the best, you've got to beat the best.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, because if you are around home and somebody comes and beats my car, I hope they're not going home and bragging about it. Like, as opposed to somebody that's won Blizzard Bash, whenever they beat them, they've done something.
Just like Luke Schaffner during his pre-Blizzard Bash interview, Luke didn't think that he deserved to be there. Well, you go out and you win light weld singles in the year before.
Right.
You win shit around your home. And then you kind of have the mentality that I'm not good enough to be here. When he was the last guy running on his team at least once for that week.
Right.
Dude, I don't ever think you need to question yourself that you don't deserve to be anywhere you ever go.
And I would say a lot of that feeling would come from anybody that was on a team and they weren't he went out early.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what, but like you said, though, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I started running Blizzard Bash, I think, at 14, I think somewhere in there, before the team show stuff. In the first couple of years, I really probably shouldn't have been out there. But, the first 2 years, I think, I was 1 minute, and I was on the dirt pile anyway. Yeah. But, it pushes you to be a better builder, to be a better driver. Yes. I don't think I'd be nowhere near where I was today without just running there alone, just because of the competition and seeing what's all different and everything.
Well, Rob told me after I run Bash out there in that stock class, he was like, that's probably the best experience you could have put yourself in to gain driving experience because it's not around home with 6 cars. He's like, you're out there with 25 cars of some of the better people in the United States.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, this right here is how you get better. It's not running against 6 of your friends on your hometown track.
Yeah.
And he's 100% right.
I
learned more out there just sitting in a seat in that arena than I did ever running anything around here. And I'm not saying that this stuff around here doesn't help, but
any time behind the wheels experience, right. Period. And that goes into you first 5 years of driving the car. If you don't ever lose a wheel or have one lock up or nothing, that first time you have a wheel fall off or something, when you start having mechanical issues that you got to fight through, that's a whole different learning experience. And you can watch that, but until you're in that car and you're gear banging it or doing whatever to make yourself move, that's experience.
You for that.
You can't.
What are you
going
to do? Take a wheel off when you head on track?
Yep.
Yeah. I have to learn how to do this.
And the shit that we will see.
Teddy's seen something like that happen.
I've seen that, and I made it onto the track. But
the shit that we will actually see, when you're doing the pay-per-views, the Derby Nation stuff, or Track Shot Live, like Teddy's Cadillac is known in the suspension to get overextended. He doesn't know. He can't see. He's not Ace Ventura in that shit.
Right.
He just knows that something's not right.
But we can
see. Go over and hit him. Just hit him. Just hit his tire back. All good. But that's, some of that stuff that.
But that's why people watch that shit. Right there. You are explaining the definition of why people buy the pay-per-views.
Yes.
Stuff just like that. It's like watching football whenever your favorite team gets a flag thrown on them. You're screaming at the TV. They can't hear you.
Yeah.
But,
which we did some, a couple weeks ago, we was doing some screaming at the TV.
Good and bad.
Yeah, good. Yeah, a lot of good.
A little bit of
bad. Have you... Probably this is going to the last thing I'm going to ask you. You and Dalen and Cody, you guys hung out all week. I spoke to Cody. He was kind of wanting to get on. I said, man.
I kept shutting it down.
Yeah, I said, we'll get you on before Peoria, which I know they're going out there too.
I feel like we're cutting promos for WWE now.
Once they calmed down, or did they get to that calm down point about their experience?
As of like now today, or just at the end of the show?
After the end of the show, once they kind of got
calmed down by the end of the show.
It might have been 2 fucking weeks before they got calmed down. I don't know, but they're up there shooting pheasants and shit this weekend. They're blowing shit up to calm down a little bit, but I just didn't know if maybe they
spoke on it. Nobody likes nobody likes that when that happens.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I was down there at Rob's, Dalen, and everybody last weekend. We watched Turkey Derby and stuff, and we talked, and I fully understand both sides of it. I see both sides of it. I try to see things and it's hard when you're in the moment. When he's on the track, I fully understand every single feeling he was going through. When you step back from it, though, and you try to see it from a promoter's point of view, from a driver's point of view, I think the call was right, but I think the call was wrong. And I think it was very inconsistent. That is where, as a promoter, you made a bad call, you screwed it up. Should he apologize? I'm not sure. But what he does with it from now, if he realizes, hey, I made inconsistent calls, this is what we need to do at the next show to try to make it better, then that's the right thing to do. He can't go back and fix what happened.
Can't.
But
we've been in that situation.
The calls were inconsistent. But we had 4 drivers meetings, Blizzard Bash, pushing the pace. Here's your warning for bagging. They stopped us in our heat, and they got on Mason.
Mason got the same time.
I thought it was done. I thought he was broken off. Mason turned it up after that. He drove. I felt at any point, the beginning, it could have been me. We were all driving slow. You're going out there the first 15 minutes, and you're feeling the pace of it.
You're trying to feel everything out.
But like I said, I feel it was the right call to be made, but it was very wrong call to be made because it was very inconsistent. Cody was 100% driving the pace that was on the track. He wasn't the only one doing that.
Right.
But unfortunately, they stopped and warned him, and
he's the one that drew the short straw on that deal.
Yeah. He did. I mean,
and we've seen it happen at our shows. I've made bad calls.
Yeah.
I'll 100% admit it. Like, oops, sorry.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really what you do from there moving forward.
Well, we bought new stopwatches.
Yeah, there you go.
We spoke on it. Watching Cody and Dalen and Eric Jeffers, Harley Miller, you go watch them guys in a normal fair show. They don't drive like that.
No, not at all.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So it was very out of place for them to be driving like that. But big show, big money, trying to move up in a national spot next year, and especially me, I like driving hard, but I'm not going to be the first guy out in the Lightwell feature, and I'm going to stand on it because we're there to win. We are.
Yes.
Right.
So he was doing 100% what he needed to get to where they wanted to be. It was a very inconsistent call.
Yeah.
So,
well, and like you said, it's not going to kill the show. We know that. Like, Blizzard Bash isn't over.
Yeah.
Like, we all know that. Everybody likes to joke about it, but we know it's not over.
Oh, absolutely not. Sam. I love Sam to death. Me and him's had a few bad calls. The first time in my life I've ever been loaded at a show is at Sam's show. Unfortunately, we're good friends. I support Sam 100%. To this day, he's coming out with big things. This next year. And
how do you feel about Carnage following suit there?
As far as the one and dones in that time of year, I absolutely love anyway. To have a light weld singles class or a light weld class where you can have pre-runs and stuff, we've been asking that for years because you come from Blizzard Bash. Before we were running Carnage, it don't matter whether your car was straight or not. You had to take your stuff. I had to take my stuff out of it because I only got one setup. Build a whole fresh car. Now I've got a pre-run sitting around that I don't know what to do with. So,
and then you got guys like Trey, who had something I'm sure just bad luck, stupid happen, and he has got a car sitting there that now he can take somewhere.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, yeah, Carnage.
Without having to wait till middle of July or something.
I haven't talked to him. What happened?
It was battery failure. Just battery failure. It
he was pissed off.
We started it 50 times all week long. Every time pulled out on track just fine. Car died and battery just went to crap. Just nothing there. So I mean, it's just one of them freak deals. I think the battery's a year old, so it's not. It's an Optima, so it's not like it's a cheap battery. It's just bad luck.
It wasn't something you grabbed from Walmart.
No,
on the way to the show.
No, that's a $300 battery that usually doesn't.
I think Trey sees the future just a little bit. I think he thought, well, I think Rob and Teddy and Mason are going to get this done. I'm just going to go ahead and lay back. I'm going to get an early start on Carnage. I got it on these boys this time. He said, I'm going to cash this check and I'm going to have a fresh car to take home with me. But
that means Dad's got to do all the work in the shop this winter. Well, you have somebody sitting right next to you.
Yeah.
Miss Kayden.
She come to our hometown and took some of our money.
Did. With only vans.
Yeah.
And drove the piss out of it.
Yeah. In a pretty good sized field.
Yeah, I can't remember how many.
42, I think, wasn't there?
A whole shitload.
I'm saying,
proud dad, but yeah. I think it was 42.
I think it was 42, and one of them might have come to the gates. It might have been 43. But, yeah, I think it was 42 cars. That track was full.
Yes.
All the way full.
Definitely was.
I don't think what you guys could see, which Teddy rode with her, it came down to you two and Brad Pentland.
Yeah.
That's who it came down to, which you were trying to go in reverse, he was trying to go forward. After the checkered flag waved, Brad was more excited for you guys than he was himself.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
And I'm talking jumping out, pointing, waving, hollering, clapping.
Which, out of all the vehicles that were in that class, that was the least built.
That was no built. Let's put it that way.
He didn't even have the ratchet strap behind the seat.
we had the rest of
No,
No, maybe we didn't. Maybe we
you
didn't.
didn't have anything in there. Because you come up there and you were like, "That was a cleanup show." You said you was working with other people's rules.
That's right, yeah,
this
other people's rules.
was built to a promoter that didn't allow cages.
100% true gut and go.
It was way better than some of the other ones that showed up that wanted to run with you all. We had 2 show up from a lunatic gut and go show, and we made him cut to get in the World Cup.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
I was like, no, still not doing that. And he's like, well, the one behind me is built identical. I was like, well, then you all need to go to that line.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a limit. Usually a gut and go is gut and goes.
Well, here we go with this conversation again.
Yeah, we just had it at breakfast the other day. Yeah, it's everybody, and they just want one more thing and one more thing. And I mean, what was compacts 15 years ago was gut and goes today.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, that's progress. Now you got mod compacts that were gut and goes. But, so.
Yes.
But either way, she fought all the way through a 42 car field.
Yes. We can't. Usually we ask, "Oh, they get started."
Well, we know.
We don't need to answer that question. What did it mean for you to get your first win with your dad riding with you?
It felt good. I've always been there helping him, and I was able to win, or not win, but I was able to ride with him when he won, and I was happy then. So knowing that I won and he was the passenger and he was happy made me happy.
Which you have been riding with him for the last few years,
it's
right?
been a couple of years. Yeah, her first ride was actually in Paris, and we were in a Lincoln, and it come down to me and Trey, and
that was you all made some junk.
That was the highlight of my career at that point. That I was in a new style, and Trey was in one of his nasty old iron GMs, but. That was her first ride, period. But she was with me that first night, and
that was a hell of a show too.
Oh yeah,
that was another hard fought battle.
Yeah,
because there was a bunch of cars that night too.
There was quite a few, 18, 20 something,
I think,
in each class,
Yeah, I think we run a 20 car feature that night.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So how much different is it? Getting the ride time with your dad.
Do you feel like that helped you with the driving?
When you switch that spot, when you've got the wheel in your hand.
Kind of, but not necessarily, just because I've been to so many derbies and seen so many things. Being in the car was just a different view. Not a different view, but you just see it from a different spot. It's the same thing. You're just closer.
Yeah, because
you're way closer.
Yeah, well, it's definitely not the rider that determines the outcome of the win. Because Teddy rode with me one time.
It didn't change that a bit.
But the man did run the throttle three-quarters of a derby.
We went out there, and immediately the cable broke on the jump pedal that Brian Powell had in the car. And Teddy rode it with a piece of number 9 wire.
Yep.
Until it finally blew the dipstick out of the transmission.
Yep.
Yeah.
Warrenton won it.
Yeah.
So... I think a lot of people who the more you watch, no matter if you're in a car or riding, I think you still learn.
It hasn't helped me very much.
I think you can it's kind of like, you can see the big picture. Like if you're in the car, you usually got tunnel vision. This is where I'm going. Yeah, you're trying to keep your head on a swivel and everything. But, when you're sitting there watching something from the stands where you can see everything.
I agree with that to a certain point. But every time I pull on a track, every bit of strategy, which I'm sure that gets a little better the more you drive. But every bit of that strategy, I'm like, all right, survival mode. I just got to...
Yeah,
I gotta keep the front end of this bitch.
Well, so much it changes. Like I said, you could plan out everything you want to do, but
You can't run every scenario.
Your plan is based off this other driver doing what you want him to, and once he changes his plan, then that changes your plan. But
because not only with her winning that gut and go, but because she wasn't just hiding out there. Like, she was driving the whole time too. So. Because there was a few out there that knew their car was on the last leg. They were full survival mode from the start, and then Kayden's rolling through there. Just wide open.
I think she's a little shy about it right now, but I think it was a whole new experience for her because we've got either here in the shop or at the track. You know, we've kind of got in some heated arguments. And she's all, "Dad, all you got to do is this. All you got to do is this." Say, well, it's a lot easier when you're like you said in the stands watching, or when you're in that passenger seat watching. And so I think it was a big eye opener for her. But she's done it a couple times. Drove herself, but it was a big eye opener for her to actually be behind the wheel and realize that guy right there, he's not just sitting there waiting for you to knock off his front tire. You got to get there before he moves to get his front tire. But
what was your? Well, I know obviously the win was more fun, but the stock car to the gut and go,
because she did do double duty that night.
Yeah,
back in October, she took a Buick Roadmaster. Wagon.
Yep.
Like, which one did you like? Do you want to run more stock stuff, or do you like the gut and go thing?
I'm fine with driving gut and go because it's easy, it's quick, it's easier. The stock, it was a lot more fast paced, obviously, and I wasn't completely prepared for it. The gut and go, I've driven a few more times before, so I had a little more experience, but. For now, the cheaper, easier one, which is the gut and go, for me is a better choice.
Which I didn't even tell you. We had to put a little bit of water on the track that night.
Right.
Okay.
We had dust flying.
Yeah. So I went back and I talked to each car getting ready to pull out, and I stuck my head in and I told Teddy, I said, "Man, we're putting just a little splash of water on it." And he said, "Man, that's fine. If there's dust going flying, yeah, no problem." And I looked over at Kayden and I said, "Hey, you got a whole ass end that you can use. So there's no reason for you to use the nose." And of course, Teddy says, "This is Austin Johnson Jr. She's not going to go backwards." And I went, "Oh, shit."
Which, I don't know, I'd say people are catching on to it now, but those vans up front are not horrible.
No.
That's the same thing your son was running.
Yeah.
And I watched him use the front end of it. Mm-hmm. Like, you could legitimately use the front of that van. Like, those Dodge vans you can't.
Nope.
Unless it's the new ones. But, like, the 98 Caravans or whatever, you cannot use the front of those. They're junk. They're complete trash. But when she was in there, you can use the front of that van a little bit.
And I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but you would have never thought in a gut and go class you will find that many pros and cons with certain years, such as
figured it out.
Teddy might like a 73 Caddy, but way better than he likes a 76. Just for his driving style, or they're
looking for specific gears of vans now.
Absolutely, yeah. And just progress with the sport. I think this year or last year they had the 5,000 win van class. I think in Wisconsin. I think so.
Yeah,
drivers are starting to push more to like you said.
We had that $3,000 win in Paris.
Yeah,
like you should have seen some of the clean compact guys that were like. All these Luminas.
Yeah.
They're like, they're wasting these Luminas. Like, it's $3,000 payout. Like, they're wasting them. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's just like, it's like anything. You get that big payout, you're going to get, like, I guarantee you we see roundbacks in that stock class at Peoria. Just because of the rule set.
Mm-hmm. And not just Whitaker.
No. There'll be, there'll be loads of old iron in that stock class out there.
Yeah, I think so. There's going to be old iron in that youth class.
Well, that's all it was last year.
Yeah,
there's one or two new styles, but there's several Chryslers. Yeah.
I know one kid's going that's in a set that just drug him clean as this table. Old iron Impala.
The listeners can't see the table.
It's clean for a table.
But yeah, Well, and everybody's talk. Those Mopars are good for the one and done shows. They really are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Shocker won it last year.
I mean, they'll steer.
Yeah,
100%.
Mark Klein's boys.
I think he took 3 firsts. I think with that same car,
that
3
car?
firsts and a second or something. He had a super good year. Yeah, very good year.
She's under the age limit, so
yeah.
Time to get
maybe
another.
Peoria in 2024.
They need to get
And give us more time to work on the car.
They have to get you another Metric GM in here.
Metric GM, yeah, definitely up her alley. She, we've talked about it, and I would start slowing down if that's what she wants to start.
She
doing
wanted
more.
to pick up.
Yeah, and like I said about the whole Austin Johnson thing, I don't mind helping her building the car, but if she's going to go out there and just blow the nose off something in about 30 seconds, we can just stick with the vans, and she can blow the nose off them, and we'll get another one for $200. And spend about 30 minutes building it instead of 6 months.
Now when your strategy is nose to the wall, can't use your
and just think, Teddy's every one of his cars used to say nose out on the front of it.
Yep. Used to.
No, it's rear out.
Yep.
Yes.
On my new style.
Yeah. So, what's your plans? I mean, you finished the season with a win. Bad luck in the stock class, but then Dad.
You got stuck down there in that corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the mud.
And then Dad comes up to us standing on the track, and he's like, "Can I
Can I
run
sweep
this
the
in the
car
straight
here?"
stock class?" And I thought, "You really want to do that?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, we need to finish it off so I can get my stuff out of it." That's what he told me.
I was going to bring it home and just junk it, I guess, because it was for I think what Austin's stock rules were. It was just a little too much for that.
Yep.
So I thought about just bringing it home and junking it. And Kayden, I mean, she stayed on me. She was the one, I'll go out there. And I knew what I was running against in that street stock class, and I knew what I had. And it was going to be very shady.
That car was nowhere near.
She just stayed on to me, and I thought,
You can always break the stake.
That's what she said. She said, just go out there, and it starts going haywire, just break the stake. So that's what I thought. And, I mean, it run down to second place before I had to do that. So
Yeah, because he come and talked to me, and I was like, yeah, but she's not riding with you.
yeah, that's what I told her, too. I said, even for the stock class, because she didn't have no down tubes,
No.
a lot of stuff. And, I mean, it was a little underbuilt for the stock class. And I told her, I said, there's no way that if I do this, you're going to, ride. You just watch this one.
So I go up and I get a stick, and I walk the length of the track where the car was, and I tape a stick back on it, and there's probably a dozen people. Like, what the fuck are you doing taping that stick back on? I was like, Teddy's running in the street stock class. He said, he's doing what? Mm-hmm. I was like, it's on him.
Which he wasn't the only one that did it.
No, we had
Baker.
Yeah, he run his end, and then
his didn't have a bumper on it.
No, none, zero. Core support was already shoved back. He's like, I want to finish it. I want to finish it.
It
I was
didn't take
like,
him very
okay.
long.
Nope, about 14 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was stood way up.
I think he was trying to go after some of that suspension with those frame horns, but I was like, man, you're supposed to use the back ones.
Yeah.
It was a little inverted
He
for
was trying to
him.
get radiators, but
Yeah.
that's the wrong way to go about it.
So if Dad slows down, you'll pick up.
And you quit using the front end.
Maybe later on. I feel like now is not really fair for me to make him slow down, considering I have softball, basketball, track all year round. So therefore, it would just be me.
I mean, that's why we did ask. I didn't even know if she would be here. I figured she was practicing something.
Right.
Yeah, she's so busy in sports and stuff. And the double down in Paris, I mean, she helped me with the van. We spent, half a day doing that together. That car, she helped me do one or two things on it. And, I mean, I did the build for her. And as a driver, I mean, that's always great. I'd love to just show up with my helmet, jump in the car and go. But the other 11 months out of the year, she's in here whenever I need her to, bleeding brakes, running shifter, helping carry things that neither one of us should probably be carrying. Mm-hmm. She's in here all the time. I mean, helping me with everything. And so it was 100% for her, to have a good drivetrain. I thought, I'll give you some good stuff, but I'm going to ride with you, and this ain't going to be just ram and jam and hold it to the floor. When I say lift, you're either lifting or I'm shutting it off. But,
I say it'll break my stick for me.
Yeah.
Which I have noticed, getting to watch my boy run. it's you still have the adrenaline, you know, because it's your kid in there.
Yeah, because this isn't the safest sport.
No, absolutely not. And I'm starting to relax on it a little bit. But like so, back when her very first time on the track with Trey, you know, she knew, you know, getting into it. I said, you know, that door is going to be hit before that wheel does. You know, we could drive around with you or me having a broken arm, but we ain't driving around with that front wheel laid over. And you know, she'd get hit, and I mean, to this day, I still do it. But like I said, we calmed down, or I've relaxed about it a little bit. But she gets hit or something, or we take a hit or something, and you know, that's the first thing I'm doing. You're checking on her. And she's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I said, okay, let's go.
You know, when you're just sitting there and you're watching, and
especially when you're the announcer.
Yeah, when I'm announcing it and everybody's like, man, your boy's running around. I said, yeah. I said, I don't really want him to run this show, though. And he said, why? I said, well, I can't. If something happens, I can't do anything. Yep. And the guy looked at me, he said, dude, you got enough buddies. If something happens to your son, you don't have to worry about it.
But it's so hit and miss because we went to shows with her, and I thought shows that she shouldn't have rode in is the show she should have rode in, and then you get out there. And they're well, Robin Trey's out there with you, but that doesn't mean that the other 10 cars on the track,
well,
you know,
well,
you can't control what one of them's going to do.
You don't cut each other any slack whenever it comes down to the end.
No, absolutely not. Yep.
I mean, like that night that you were talking about in Paris when you beat Trey in that new style. I'm going to keep saying that.
Seriously, he was almost fuming when he got out. Oh yeah, like I cannot believe I just lost to this fucking new style.
Yeah, immediately he came up to me. He said, "Ted, I'm not mad at you." He said, "You are a better driver and you built a better car." He didn't say that, but he said, "No, I'm not mad at you." He said, "Just my motor," and I understand that you built a brand new motor and. I think the water pump got knocked off it, or the crank, or something, or not the crank didn't get knocked off, but something happened early, and he ended up cooking it, and I think something got into the crank or something. Yeah. So I mean, you have a brand new motor,
but it was junk. I mean, it was complete. Yeah. He yard sailed it.
Yeah, it was dieseling and shit for like the last 5 minutes.
It wouldn't shut off.
Yeah,
I mean, it was.
Yeah, it was not good.
It was hot, but I mean, he did get beat by a new style.
We can't get him on. He won't get on. Now, we go down to Rob's, he might sit in, but until he gets on, we can just fuck with him.
Later in the evening, then he'll talk.
Yeah. Catch him later, even after a few sodies, he'll probably do a little talking. And he'll probably make sure to rebuttal this whole new style thing. But you'll probably get more out of him talking about that one conversation.
But we're okay, back on the order of new styles. He's been in more new styles the last couple of years than he's ever been in.
Well, him and his old man, those 03s that they built, those were wicked.
Yeah.
Which Rob seemed to have, it went more than Trey's did.
Yeah. Which he finally got a good run laid down on it. I mean, he was still running them, and they were running them hard, but he was struggling with steering and stuff, just keeping it on it.
Well, that 03 of Rob's, that's the one that he knocked that cradle out of that Cadillac with.
Yeah, Jesse's.
Yeah. Mm. I'd never seen that happen before. Because Jesse was like, hey, you need to come over here and look at this. Because I've never seen anything like that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh.
You can't park here.
And that was all from a firewall shot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what did it. But the front end of that 03 was just ridiculous. And that was at our cleanup show, our first Halloween Havoc. Mm-hmm. So they had, 12 plates or some shit. Mm-hmm.
And if you can't tilt the 03s, but you put 12 plates on it to make up for not being able to tilt it where they need to be tilted, that makes them stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Stupid.
And I still think you're insane for thinking people weren't tilting their cars or whatever.
I didn't say that, and what we talk about off this microphone is a whole different ballgame.
I'm just saying, we've talked about it. Whenever you give them that many plates, you can't make them cut plates off of it to see what they've done underneath the plate.
Correct.
Oh, I pulled it down. I pulled it down too much. Sorry.
I pulled it down level.
Yeah. It was an accident. I had to cut the bottom of the frame out just a little bit. What's that dimple? Oh, it was like that. That's where it bent. On both sides, equally.
That's that Monday. Perfect. That's that Monday and Friday build. Yeah, straight from the factory. Yeah. Those dude come over, hung over on Monday morning when he built that one. So I'm going to keep asking. When's your next show?
I think we're going to run Mother Day Madness in Shelvina. Is that correct? Is that what that's called?
No. No.
What's
My
it
next
called?
show is going to be
I think he's talking
Carnage
about
or Peoria. But yeah, your next show, I'm not sure when. Probably next summer, fair show sometime or something.
I'd like to run one in Shelvina, one in Macon, and possibly one in Paris, or if not in Shelvina. But I got to go. It's easy.
Vans, all vans. Because there's another van sitting right out here. I already saw
Are
that
we
one.
talking
That
about his
is-
inventory?
Yeah, keep that on the hush.
Hey,
We
this
still have.
this white one that was right out here, is it sold?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because as soon as we pulled in, I said, I know somebody's looking for that exact one.
Yeah, I sold it 2 weeks ago. Guy just hasn't picked it up yet. But those two. But yeah, she got that minivan we took to Paris still.
Yeah, because it was a.
Windows still roll up and stuff in it. So it's sitting out there. But I guess it just depends what they do with the van rules and
Right.
the van only.
Yeah, because I know that we were going to separate the two. At least try it.
Yeah.
I know, I'm pretty sure Solo Boys is keeping them together.
Are they?
Yep, so, and I'm pretty sure
I think
they're.
everybody else is too.
Yeah.
We were the only ones that were doing it.
Have they said has anybody said anything about allowing them explorers and stuff in that class yet?
I don't think so.
I haven't seen
I think
anything yet.
that's kind of a game changer for that class too.
100%. Well, that's what I was going to make the price of vans go down with ours because I was going to let them run mini trucks and small SUVs in that van class. And if they did that, you can go find an Explorer or whatever, or a Ranger.
Explorer, Equinox,
Yeah. Well, they're already running those.
Torrent.
Yeah. Because if you get on the internet, because we were allowing crossovers, and I made people send it to me. If they could send me where it labeled it as a crossover on, your Google search, we had to let it run because that's, it was what it was.
Yeah, because I think me and you talked about. I got that Equinox out here. I think and we talked about that too.
Yep.
Earlier in the year.
You can use Wikipedia at that point.
We're easy now.
Urban Dictionary.
Quit it. Quit giving out all the secrets. Whose idea was it to get out of here?
Yours. I went racing for the first time this year. I watched a hell of a race and a lot of derby stuff. So, there was a lot of derby guys there.
Well, I know. That's my whole
When it goes to
Snapchat.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
I caught that update on Facebook. That was quite a ride he took.
Yeah, there was probably $500,000 worth of shit annihilated in the last 2 days.
Was that the one that was upside down?
Which one?
Yeah, I just seen the ones that I got some on Snapchat.
One
Did
of them
you get
was
the one where
stuck in the fence.
he's hooked on both ends on the wrecker?
Oh, they're saying that.
You probably got one where there was a modified upside down.
Yeah.
Okay, so when they took him off, he was picked up on the wrecker on both ends, and the front stub was hanging out at the foot box. It just detached it from the car.
Have you seen that?
I don't know about that.
Man, with all the, we keep saying there is big shows everywhere, and then you're throwing fair shows in the middle of all these big shows. How do you set your schedule?
Man, I like last year and this year, just base it off the big shows. Really, I guess I'd love to hit more shows. I'd love to run some more bigger shows. But right now the schedule's Carnage for the light weld if I get in that, and then build a fresh car for Peoria. Then if I've got something left with that, I'll try to hit some fair stuff with that or early in the year. But then there's the Botanica show. I'm going to try to hit that one. 20,000 to win on that and 200 cars. There's going to be some drivers in that one. Then after that, it's just,
Which I can't believe that show's not full yet.
Botanica.
Yeah.
That's a lot of entries too, though. 200.
Right.
It is. And that's a lot.
We learned that last year with the team show.
But as far as picking and choosing around home, I really try to go to where I feel I'm going to get the best tech. Ultimately, wherever the cars get in without the least amount of changing and where I feel like I'm going to get the fairest tech.
Well, and I think that's what we thrived at whenever we were putting on shows. was that rule set to try to follow where we could get the big show cars. That's what we wanted. I mean, that was our game plan, 100%. You know, like Mother's Day, that's why we let pre-runs in there, because they had that street stock class out there. They changed their street stock rules a little bit, so that kind of messed that up a little bit. But that's where we always tried to grab our cars from. Like,
Yeah.
you know, Bowling Green was a huge asset to Paris for years.
And then
absolutely.
then you throw a great big wrench in it this year,
Yeah.
and their rules weren't even close.
No. And I mean,
Really, truthfully, wasn't close to anything around here.
no. And I think that they seen that,
Yeah.
you know, by their car count. I mean,
Where usually they got, what, a couple hundred cars?
yeah.
I mean, stupid amount of cars.
Yes.
And
But, I mean, it never hurts to try something new, though. I mean,
no, it don't. You live and learn.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because we've fumbled a couple times. We've done shit that's cost money.
Yep.
Until you try it out, though, you don't know
100%.
whether it's going to work or
Right.
not. So,
We always tried to make sure to do that after we knew one of our shows was going to work. Then we try something a little different on the next one.
You don't have to cross your fingers so much
Right.
on the second one.
But I mean, it proved itself. If you can do something where people can run their leftovers in the spring, and a place where people can finish their stuff off in the fall, they'll work.
yeah, because it's hard to carry cars over from year to year.
Nobody wants to do that.
Nobody wants to, but then, I mean, the rules change.
Oh yeah.
So what you were running all this year could be a completely different build next year. You're either adding a lot more or you're taking away a lot more. And adding's a lot easier than taking away.
Yes, it is.
And just like you said earlier, you really only have one setup.
Yeah. I've
You
got
know,
one-
so you can't leave it in a car.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it took 17 years to get here, 18 years, however long I've been in it. But I finally got a stock setup and a light weld setup. But, you know, like I said before, we went to Blizzard Bash, yank it out, put it in a fresh Carnage car, and then yank it out and yank my stuff out of the cradle and stuff and put it in a lower cradle and, you know, done that for the summertime. But,
Yeah.
And you're not the only person that was having to do that.
No.
I mean, you know, that was a lot of people.
Yep.
So that's why I think them adding that light weld class to Carnage is
It's huge. I mean, it's a big. It's a good.
100%. I think that was a smart move.
Yeah. You hit on earlier the stuff that Sam is doing, you know, this coming year. What do you think about the South Dakota with the qualifier and stuff?
It's going to be exciting to see what comes out for sure. You know, rule wise, you know, I've heard a bunch of rumors, rules and payouts and stuff, but it's going to be exciting with Sam. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be big. You know, he knows what it takes to build a big show. You know, he built Blizzard Bash from the ground up. You know, it turned in even when he let go of it. I mean, it was a big deal, and it's only gotten bigger since then. I'm excited to see what comes out of it. Like I said, class-wise, show-wise, pay-wise, I think it'll be a great deal all around.
Oh, yeah, because that one and done, man, everybody likes that. You know, like at Whiskey City, like, I love that. I love one and done. We tried to incorporate that in all of our shows.
Yep.
I hate running heats.
Well, I do too. You know, especially, you know, for years I've ran over to some of the local derbies around here that you have 12 cars show up,
And they wanna run heats.
We're going to run 4 heats of 4 heats of 3, and
Taking
then
the top 3.
we're not going to have a consi. But if you pull back on the track in the feature, you can still run. So why even make me pull out on the track the first time just because everybody's getting back in the feature at something at the end? If there ain't no cut to it, then just let everybody run.
Well, and we caught shit over it a couple times because we shoved 35 cars on the track. But nobody's bringing parts to that shit. Mm-hmm. And I am not one of those people that try to drag a show out.
Yep.
Like, that was not our intentions whatsoever. Like, 3-hour shows are perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know there's a fine balance when, like, you as a promoter, when you dealt with a lot of fair boards, I understand they don't want you showing up at 4 o'clock and the stands be empty at 4:30 because the show's over.
Right.
Because you guys, everybody's making their money off the people in the stands and selling the cheeseburgers and selling the beers.
Right.
So if you ain't dragging out the show some, but
After doing it for 3 years, we found out you're holding everybody's attention for about 3 hours.
yeah,
After that, people are wandering off.
If you could, the only way you can do 4 it's got to be a badass 4.
Yeah, it's got to be action.
Yes.
Straight, killing it.
Yeah.
But even like you're talking about on that, Sam on one of his Facebook Lives was talking about the format for South Dakota, where why present your trophies on a Sunday when half your crowd's already left? Your drivers are there on Wednesday anyway. Why is there nothing going on Wednesday? So now show on Wednesday night, finals on Saturday night, trophies out Saturday night. So
yeah, and
there's a lot of truth to that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then the team setting, if you take a team, you make it through, you're getting Friday off.
Yep.
Yeah, because
to let you enjoy that
it's
time.
just such a pain in the ass. But I wish that we could have gave trophies out after each class during our shows. Because I wanted the crowd to see the drivers getting the trophies.
Yep.
Because at the end of the night, there's nobody left. We're handing out trophies on an empty track.
Yeah.
Yep. I am going to ask, who bought lunch after Paris?
I did.
Not me.
Yeah, I did. Old Dad did.
It wasn't with a filthy check. It bounced.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he got those special rewards.
Yeah. I got them bonus checks too, yeah.
No, he won more than I did that night.
The bonus checks.
I didn't know who all was going to, I didn't know, whenever he was adding all that stuff up for the point and stuff, it was so close. All of it was.
Yep.
I'm sure.
I was like, hold on. What the hell? And I started breaking it down. I was like, hold on.
Honestly, a tied Mad Dog is what decided it.
Yep. A tied Mad Dog.
Really?
Because
'Cause
once
we
there
didn't
was a
give
tie,
anybody
there was no
points for it at
points
all.
for it. And that's what justified.
Yep.
But, yeah.
Which we had made that decision before it happened. Because I was like, what happens if we have a tie? It was like, that's a thing. And he's like, no points. Like, if you've got a tie, just
no clear
nobody
cut
gets
winner.
anything.
Uh-huh.
But then if there was a tie for, a class,
The finishes
then
and then,
then
the
you
Mad
give
Dog.
whoever gets the
Right.
most wins or something like that. But
I don't know. Points are stupid. I know everybody likes running for them, but they're a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I definitely see that. There's a lot to keep track of on that, to do. But.
Because we needed like one or two more things to do.
no, we didn't. No,
I forgot half the shit before the shows anyway. All right, let's spend $200 to $500 before every show to make sure we've got everything we need.
Yes.
Where's the fucking tape?
I was going to say something earlier, but apparently Teddy's the reason I lost my fucking tape at the last Derby. Because
I took it.
Yeah.
you took my
It is
tape.
It is so bad that
That was my
she
hidden roll of
she
tape
would have a hidden roll of tape in her
that
bag.
nobody knew about except
Nobody knew
him.
about.
Just for emergencies.
Because every time I was sitting there in the tech line doing my paperwork,
It was a solid argument every day.
there was somebody over here yelling at somebody over here. Where's the fucking tape? Nobody
All the time.
So
found any
she
fucking
kept
tape.
one. Well, when you come up, I was like, "Hey, give me your
I threw it at him and I
throw
never
me,
seen it
throw me your
again.
tape," and then it disappeared. That's why.
You wouldn't think out of
That's
all
why
the
we
things-
quit.
Yeah, it was the tape. It was the fucking
We ran out of tape.
But yeah, that out of all the things at derbies that we had to deal with, it was the tape. It was always the tape. The tape was always gone. And we bought sleeves of that shit.
We did. Where's the paint?
I don't
Where's
know.
the tape?
Like, was it getting left in people's cars
I
when
don't
they
know.
set it down to tape or what?
I don't know.
what
You
was
could probably
happening,
build
but-
14 gut and goes with the amount of tape that we lost.
Well, yeah, 100%.
That's bad.
Well, when we had Bub doing sticks for us, I know what happened to the tape.
He was using way too much tape.
Balake couldn't even break his
Oh, I know.
stick.
Salisbury out there hanging on with two hands, yeah.
Yeah, but those were 2x4s.
Those were some of the thickest sticks I think I've ever seen.
No, everything was quality from start to finish with Filthy Promotions.
Something like that.
Everybody, they were like, "What are these? We can't break them." I was like, "I don't know." That's what I got. That's what I
They
got.
weren't meant to be broken.
They weren't. No, that's
We
I was
did-
trying to help you out.
everybody
We did
had
that
sticks
somewhere.
up Sunday.
There were a few
Was it the
times
show
when
Yeah, it probably was because we had some left over.
I couldn't break that stick. Dad was like, break your stick. And I was like, I can't.
I think it was a making when you in gut and go.
there were a few times we couldn't find the things, the labs
cheap-
or whatever
yeah,
we
the
used to
cheap
use,
ones.
so we had to do whatever we could.
Yep.
I bought them all up. I got them back here on the shelf.
Do you?
That way I bring my own every time.
Start rating that
If I don't
shelf.
get it the first time through tech, I just.
Well, I don't need those anymore.
Nope. None. Zero. Well, we know where. Usually guys don't really give out locations of where they're going to go this far ahead. He didn't pass June, though.
Right. Well, it's kind of hard to schedule that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it really depends on Patonica and stuff, and I don't know, a lot of new promoters and stuff, so have to see what rules and stuff are about.
I would like. Are they going to bring that show back in Vegas? Has anybody heard?
I haven't heard nothing about it. They were going to have it, then COVID canceled it,
Right.
and it got moved, and COVID canceled it, and then
Because I wanted
don't know
to
what
do
Jimbo's
that,
doing.
like just to go check it out.
The only thing that I didn't like is it looked like there was so much sand and powdered dirt. You know,
that track was terrible. I mean, it was worse than Blizzard. Carnage was that year. It was just terrible.
Yeah. We talked to Sam about that whenever we had him on.
For me to travel halfway across the country, I mean, you got to run. You still got to. That's part of drivers running the race you're on. You'd be able to judge the track and not full throttle it and try driving through people and stuff. But for me to drive halfway across the country to run on something, I'd like some solid foundation underneath me. That'd be the last thing I want.
Well, there was. You just couldn't get. You need really tall tires.
Yeah, really tall.
You need like 35s instead of,
23.
Yeah.
22. 21.
I am going to ask him. We know tire preference is a lot on a build. I had to look. You're not usually run that small.
No
of rears, do you?
I tried it one time. I got solids on this Cadillac. Blizzard Bash. I love them. They're fantastic out there. I tried running it at one fair show this summer. Track was a little wet.
Wasn't wet. It was just greasy.
Just greasy. It was very greasy.
It was greasy.
But that was the only time I've ran them at home. I'm normally a 25 inch on the back. And then new styles, either 23s or 550s up front. These Cadillacs are so hard to get height out of. You have to have something taller up front. But the 25s are pretty good overall, all-around tire that I feel.
And that's what I run 700s on the front of all those Mopars just because of the height.
Just get some height up front.
Yeah. But the new styles, like you were saying, the sky's the limit. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Mason, a lot of the time, even around home and stuff, he's running super sidewalls up front. I think.
Yeah.
So it's driver preference at that point, but.
The solids at fair shows, I'm just not a fan.
I'm not either, really, just because tracks usually
you never know what the track's going to be
are a little less predictable.
Well, it was like Shelbina. We rolled and scraped and everything, and there was nothing but a sinkhole in the middle of that track.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, you seen what happened. It didn't matter. You would have had to have 44s to run out there, to do anything. But you do see that quite a bit. A lot of these fairs around home here, they're just pushing a spot off in the middle of their fairgrounds, and that's where...
Yeah.
Like Paris, we're lucky there because that's a pulling track, and it is just ridiculously hard.
I think that's why P. Hill's track is the way it is. Yeah. You got Bill Miller running. That's his baby, and he told me that. But their main deal is there's a pulling track that goes right through the middle of that thing, and that thing is hard as a wedding prick, boy.
This is the first year I've been over P. Hill. I went to 2 shows Austin had over there. They got a super nice
facility.
Everything is super nice about it. But Paris, around here, Paris, Macon, for the most part, had a real good track.
That track in Macon can be made really good.
Paris and Palmyra, they're some of the best tracks around, I feel like.
Yeah, Palmyra's track was killer, too, which we rubbed on it a lot.
For like 2 days.
Yeah, like moving dirt and packing dirt. And because like Mother's Day, before we run that show, we probably pulled 6 inches of mud off that track.
Mm-hmm.
So it was honestly a blessing that it was as hard as it was.
Oh, absolutely.
Because there was a solid foundation underneath of it.
Yeah, Friday morning I had no idea we were going to have to put water on it.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
And that's what, whenever Skinny and all them were down here, they were like, holy shit, this was a mud hole when we showed up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah. We're going to put water on it. It's dusty.
That was one of the first derbies this year that she come to Pelmire. She had a softball game,
Track districts.
and drove halfway across the state to make it to the derby. And before we went out for the feature, I thought, man, this is going to be a rough show. She shouldn't ride this, so little Chris rode with me instead. But
there it is, the winningest rider in the history of Derby.
I'm not sure anybody's got a better record than that. He does.
Somebody's going to have to get him one of the baseball cards made.
Yep.
A hero card.
Yeah, because you got in on cashing a little check from there, too.
Good, yep. Ted and Ed Wrecking Crew.
Bloody.
That was whenever Austin Johnson tried to cut himself in two.
Yes.
In case you didn't remember, I was in a new style, and Trey got hung in the back of me on that one, too. Well, Ed come in for the tap.
That did happen.
New style.
If you're listening,
yeah, but
Trey.
he was way up in there.
He was deep. Yeah, he was deep.
And it was more than just the tip.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that beak was buried.
Tank protector buried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a hell of a show. That was one of my favorite shows for the year.
It was. It was a great show. It is the top two of this year for me.
I've never had a show run that smooth as the chaos behind the scenes was on it. Because we had no clue what we were doing. 2-man team show, first time we'd ever done it, and doing it in one day.
Yep.
And it was just ridiculous. Like, splitting that track was perfect. Just boom, 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 boom.
Absolutely. Keeping everything going.
Oh, it was great. We were done with the heats by, 6 o'clock.
We were completely done by 11.
Yeah, the whole
yeah,
show.
overall, the whole show ended at a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy here beat us there that morning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she had to be at school, I think, at 6 o'clock or 6:30 or something. So I thought, well, there ain't no point in me coming back home for 30 minutes. Might as well.
Well, he snapped me.
I rolled out of bed. We rolled out of bed, and he was like, Teddy's already on his way. I was like, I'm not even out of bed yet.
And I was extremely hungover.
That's self-inflicted.
That was terrible.
Blame Skinny.
Yeah. And Bobby.
And Bobby, yeah.
It was more so Bobby than Skinny.
That's something you said, though, about the shows getting over at a decent time. I don't know why we don't on a Saturday. I don't know why we don't start more shows at 2 o'clock. If they run, whether they run smoothly or not.
Excluding you because you're always there. I'll give you that, 100%. I can't get people to show up where I can tech their cars.
Show starts at 2. If you ain't there by 2, you just don't run.
Right, but then we don't have any cars.
I understand that. But
because everyone
for
wants to show
some
up
reason,
at
though,
2:15.
I mean, at least the Missouri thing, it's, we run late, but you get up north at a lot of places.
They have them
at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I hate coming home at 12:30, 1 o'clock
Me
in
too,
the morning
and that's
from a
why
show
I
that's
loved it.
30 minutes away from here.
Like Shelbina, we had both of those over by 9:30.
Yep.
And we had 97 cars at one of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's perfect. That is way doable. And my wife and I were even talking, and Derek and his wife, we were talking about all that. We got more of the youth there in those shows early because people were bringing their kids.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, these shows are over at 9 o'clock. That's fine. We can get home. Everybody gets to stay up just a little bit later and get to watch this derby. And it wasn't even a money aspect from us. It was just more people watching. It was
getting the kids involved.
Yeah, because we didn't, we don't charge for anybody under 10, so that wasn't.
Yeah.
There were 2 sodas and a Snickers wasn't, making us or breaking us, but it was just cool that they were there.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we sound like a broken record on that. That's the only way that the sport keeps going is if you get.
The people in the stands.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The drivers put on the show, and you have to have the people in the stands to pay the bills.
That's what we were running into. That was a lot of our issues. There's so much stuff going on everywhere, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Rodeos, mud runs, concerts. We had 101 cars, 900 people in the stands. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
There should have been 2,700 people there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. But I'll quit bitching about that. It's over.
Don't have to bitch about it no more.
Not until 24.
Yep. So, the goal is Kayden's going to run some vans this year. Teddy's going to be running some Cadillacs and some new styles this year.
Definitely some new styles. I don't know about the rest of it yet.
Trey better watch out.
Yeah. This was my last Cadillac I've got here, so if anybody's listening and got the extra, or Christmas is coming up.
Teddy wears a size 73 and 76.
76, yeah.
That's what he asks for every year for Christmas.
Isn't it round headlights matter? Isn't that right?
Round headlights. Yeah.
Thought so. Well, you got any last words?
Nope.
Make jump, boys.